All right, let's see what's going on. I need anyone who's in here to let me know how the volume is. How's the volume? Is it okay? Who's in here? Who's in here? I see two people watching. I guess this is for the playback, right? Let me go to this is unofficial. It's not the official shows. Someone had to contact me on Instagram and basically let me know that I have a YouTube channel and not posting on a YouTube channel that you've opened when you have subscribers is pretty much rude. And I reluctantly agreed. I had no choice but to agree. What's been going on, right? Huh. Well, first and foremost, this is a drop-in show. You guys will have to excuse my voice. Whenever the weather's changing like this, I kind of get um can you people even hear me? Maybe I'm speaking into a void or something. Hold on. Hello? 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 You know what? Let me turn on the other tabs and see if maybe I can get a feedback. It's one of the few occasions when a feedback is useful. Unmute that tab. Let's hear it. What is going on? I made fun of Rad for his technical difficulties last time, but I'm suffering from the same thing here. This is ridiculous. Who's here? Evening, Jose Negron. What's going on, Jose? Jose, how's my volume? Can you hear me? How can you hear me? Okay, or am I muffled? What's going on? In case you're on a device that does not allow a lot of typing, just type 1 if my volume's okay, type 2 if my volume's bad. Mute that tab. Let's hear it. What is going on? I made fun of Rad for his technical difficulties last time, but I'm suffering from the same thing here. This is ridiculous. All right, it's fine. Roy Chess, what up? What up? What up? What up? Roy Chess, this is a drop-in show, so you can just roll in whenever you're damn good and ready. You too, Jose. So anyhow, what's been going on? A lot of things I've been noticing, right? One of the things I've been noticing, let me know if you guys notice the same things that I've noticed, or if I'm just going nuts, right? People who are highly political have been getting more pushy and more pushy and more pushy, right? Let me know if I'm just imagining things or if you guys notice the same thing too. Whether you wear a mask or don't wear a mask, it's none of my business. I wear a mask, right? Because I'm around a lot of old people. And so what I usually do is 1 second. Sorry about that. A lot of interruptions, like from outside. If see this microphone that I'm using, rather this headset, it's very specific. It's kind of like directional. It's pointed directly at my mouth. But if I were to point outside, you guys would hear just the kind of urban drama play that I'm involved in every day. You'd hear all the fighting, all the various Rottweiler versus Pitbull fights, random too. It's not like, there's a fight club out there or anything like that. It's just random. Uh, where I live is so bad that animals have formed gangs. Okay. When when you go outside, let's give it 10 o'clock, right? The animals put us on a curfew. At the town meeting, the animals have said, look, fucking people, if we catch your ass at 10:01, so the animals have put us on a curfew. Whenever you step outside, if it's past 10, past 11, you know that you're treading on thin ice. You know what I'm saying? So the raccoons, for example, see, the possums have their own gang, and we put tributes outside. We put our garbage outside. We don't put it inside the hard plastic or metal bins, all right, because our garbage is the tribute to the gang leaders. So, you know, first of all, you got to check in, all right? You got to do a check in depending on which block you live at, all right? So what we do is we put our tributes outside. For the raccoons, they seem to get first dibs, right? But then the possums, they come around after the raccoons. So maybe they got a little arrangement going. So, that's how I see it, where I live at, you know. But onto serious matters. Political people have been getting more and more aggressive. And it doesn't matter if they're on the left, on the right, even moderates. Even moderates, your name is like the name of your camp is moderate. Why don't you moderately compose yourself? But even the moderates, I didn't even notice that. Poach, I didn't even notice that you were back there. Drop in, Poach. Drop in. I'm gonna let you in. Drop in. I'm gonna let you in. Um, well, Jose de Gonzalez, I was vaccinated, but everyone has a choice. Yeah. Listen, Jose. Here's the thing, right? I've made my choices too. I don't necessarily. I believe in. I'm pro science, so I believe that there's a virus out there, and I believe the things that to me are believable. But I don't subscribe to the hype surrounding it. I don't subscribe to the hype surrounding it. So this overblown, we're all gonna die. I don't buy into it, right? So for example, the mask hype. Wear your mask, you'll be just fine. Really? Really? Wear your mask, you'll be just fine. What kind of mask are you wearing? How are you wearing it? This is a microscopic organism. Hold on, let me see. Add. How come it doesn't add? I'm trying to add you, Poach, but I have a latency in my internet. Poach, you there? I just tried to add you, but there's a latency in my internet. What's going on? Try that now. Add.
What's
Unless,
up?
is there latency in your internet as well? What's going
Can
on,
you hear
Poach?
me?
Poach, what's good,
You can
man?
hear me, right?
Yeah, add a little. Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you just now. Yep,
Oh, okay, good,
I can
good.
hear you great.
Yeah, for a second I was like kind of worried. I was like,
Yeah.
is that on my end? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. No, no, no. That's a latency on my part. But yeah.
Okay,
So
okay, I see, I
let
see.
me get back. Yeah, yeah. Let me get back to polishing up what I had opened up here. So I'm pro
Yeah,
science, and I believe I believe there's a virus out there, and I believe it's doing what it's doing, but I'm not pro the hype surrounding it, the surrounding it. Right. So it seems to me. Give me a second. I wasn't checking in with my Illuminati handlers. That was a coughing fit, so I muted. Now, when we have so many entities, right, giving us what the mandates are, you will do A, you will perform B, you will, under no circumstances, do C. When you have people doing this stuff, there's definitely something behind it. One of my buddies, he said that this is a financial virus. He said that there's a lot of warcraft being performed behind the scenes that, you know, these countries, states, entities in general, they're waging a war on each other right now that we're not seeing. Okay. The virus exists, so no one's gonna come in here and say, "Oh, Brutep's anti-science. He's a hotep." No, 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 no. Listen, I believe that there's a bug out there. I get it, right? And the people who died, you can't argue with bodies. You can't argue with bodies. What I'm saying is things can still be real and still be manipulated for an agenda. So when you have entities forcing you to jump through hoops, wear your mask all the time, you'll be safe. No, no, no. Wearing your mask all the time won't make you safe. You're pushing that. But how many times have realist scientists come on TV or on YouTube or wherever, and they've told you, listen, I'm seeing all the mask stuff out there. That's not how that works. This is a microscopic organism. Some of you are wearing cloth masks. Some of you are wearing the mask and it's over your mouth, under your nose. What are you doing? Some of you are wearing masks that are not supposed to be for that, right? You're wearing basically painter's mask when you go paint someone's house. So, what kind of masks work? When should you wear your mask? How to apply social distancing? All these things matter, but they don't cover these things. They just browbeat you with "you will, you shall, you must, you have to." And if you dare say, "Wait a minute, can we talk about this?" You're anti-science. You don't care about people's health. You don't care about old people. You don't care about children. For God's sake, the children. Whenever you get to a point where you hear these kinds of sound bites and browbeating and shaming come in, then you know there are agendas out there like swirling around. When the whole George Floyd thing started going on, right? People took to the streets. They were burning banks. They were reducing entire, what is it, housing complexes to ash. Someone was caught in a car, right? Well, many people were caught doing many shady things. Like the cop who they found out it was a police officer. They called him Umbrella Guy, right? Remember him? He had an umbrella and he was breaking into, what was it, AutoZone. He was breaking all the windows. He was tagging up on walls, all these different things. And someone with a camera followed him and said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And then he kind of like scurried away. Then his wife came on some sort of radio station and said, "Hey, I know him. That's my ex-husband. I gave him that umbrella when we were together." Basically, my buddies and I, we had a little one of those boards. You know those boards when you have those detective shows and you have those little pins on the board with little strings. We didn't have it that complex, but we did have like notes. We had like a big poster board, and we were kind of like, okay, at any given point in this whole craziness that's going on with all the Antifas and the BLMs and the Proud Boys and the various different um various different extremist groups, left and right, that were out there causing harm. We figured out at any given point, at any given time, there were at least 12 ops going on out there. We're not talking about random people, we mean ops. Like the guy who was caught in a car, he came out with a Glock 19 with an extended mag. That was like, if you're part of special forces, that's how you modify your weaponry. That's the kind of stuff he came out there with. And he disappeared into the crowd after like someone tried to drag him out of his car, and then he shot the guy in the arm. Then he came out of his car and disappeared into the crowd. He had jeans and a hoodie or something. Disappeared into the crowd, and we never saw him again. What was he doing? At any given point, there were, at least from what my buddies and I, we made it as a hobby. We figured out there was something like 8 to 12 different ops going on out there, right? And so if we go past the George Floyd thing, and then we go into, let's say, now the poke in the arm, whether you believe in the poke in the arm or not, right? Whether you believe it works, whether you believe you received placebos, that it was too early to develop the poke, right? Whether the poke is just sugar water or saline solution, right? Whether you believe any of these things, whether the poke works or doesn't work, whether it's a placebo, blah, 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 there are agendas behind that stuff. Moving on, let me move on from that stuff. Yo, what up? You don't have the link, Rad? Hold on, Rad. Let me send you the link.
Oh shit, Rad's here, bro.
I actually dropped the link in. Yeah, Rad's here, yo. Oh man, Rad showed. Rad is doing. I have sort of a pet peeve to I have a pet peeve to get off my chest here. And this isn't only this is a lot. It has a lot to do with Rad, but it isn't necessarily confined to Rad. There's a lot of people doing this shit. As far as I know, in this community here, aside from the exception of, say, the exception, who should I give the exception? Denise. With the exception of Denise, who is legit talking to heads of state and all these different things, and then now she's traveling, right? And she's trying to enact laws that protect an entire country or an entire body of people, Puerto Rico, right? Unless you're someone like that, why the fuck are we giving interviews? You didn't write a bestseller on the New York Times list. You didn't write some sort of theorem in theoretical physics. You didn't write some sort of treatise for society. You didn't cure cancer. You didn't direct a blockbuster movie. Why the fuck are we giving interview with, like, whenever I see this shit, it just pisses me off. Like, I'll see radical Latinos. Hold up, Brad. I see you in the background now. I'll see Rad's like, my interview with dot 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 dot. As who? It's a personal pet peeve. That's why I decline interviews, right? Even though now I've calmed down, but when I first dropped onto the scene, these YouTube streets, my opinions were very polarizing, and I was very grating on the nerves. I'll admit that. So I can see why people wanted to know what's in my head, et cetera, et cetera. But even then, I declined interviews. Dude, my comic book ain't even dropped yet. Shit's gonna be hot because I'm drawing the shit right now. If I do say so myself, some hot shit, but I ain't even dropped that shit yet. I'm swamped with commissions. Fuck am I doing interviews for? I have several screenplays, but they haven't been picked up. Fuck am I doing interviews for? So that's just a little pet peeve of mine that everybody's going around in these YouTube streets and our corner of YouTube giving interviews. It's like you didn't do anything. Okay, all right. You talk to even like people who talk to like gang leaders, right? I could say if you spoke to several gang leaders and you form some sort of peace. Let's say you're the guy who brokered the peace between the norteños and the sureños. Yeah, I'd watch that interview. I'd watch that interview because it's about something. But people are having interviews just because. I think, especially for me, I would redirect that energy towards getting something noticeable accomplished. Like, okay, our favorite, whether you want to consider him a failure or a success, our favorite street smart boxer, right? I know you're listening, fighter, because you subscribe to me. You're subscribed. You're sub. And whenever I drop your name, in 2 minutes, you're in here. Okay? Our favorite boxer. He's given like 5, 6 interviews. For what? What boxing championships has he won? What gym has he opened up? No, I don't mean working in a gym. I mean, what gyms has he opened up? What book has he written on the art of boxing? Oh, I'm adding this particular technique to the sweet science. Why are we giving interviews? That's my rant about that. It's my rant about that. The other thing that's been kind of like on my mind is the panel that we had with indigenous podcast, the indigenous podcast, or forgot what his name is, right? He, I almost got disrespectful on the panel and call him code talker, but that guy that you saw on there who was basically parroting a whole bunch of, I would say, white supremacist talking points and passing them off as, I don't know, criticism of the black community. Hold on 1 second. You went to the ER for a mask, and hold on 1 second. What did Roy just say here? What up, Denise? What did Denise say? No. Do your thing. Do your thing, Denise. This is kind of like a drop-in show, so anybody could drop in or not. That's fine. How's the fight going?
That's funny.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Roy Chess says, I went to the ER with a mask and they gave me their mask. I was not allowed to use my mask. Yeah, that's the other thing, right? Okay, right. So there are a lot of old people under my care, and I usually take them to places where, like, if they don't have their children with them, I take them there, right? So several times in the last week and a half to 3 weeks, I was going in and out of university hospitals and clinics and these different things. When I come in there, I have a better mask than what they're offering. They refuse to let me wear my mask, right? My mask is not only not cloth, right? The underside of it is cloth, right? Then I put plastic over the cloth side, right? And it's reinforced edge to edge along my face. Okay. They told me, no, take off that one. And they give me a flimsy fucking cloth mask. A flimsy cloth mask. Do you really care about not spreading this virus, or is this about control? The other thing that really, really got me confused, let's say, is that I was at their front desk and they have a big camera overhead. They didn't allow me to take off the mask. Now, this is in connection with law enforcement. They didn't let me nor the person who I'm dropping off to take off our masks so that law enforcement can get pictures of our faces. What if I was coming in there on some Terminator shit, or on some Terminator shit? You know, I'll be back, right? And I'll leave and I come back with a fucking car and break through that place. Not that I would for any of the agencies listening into this, bullshit rant. What if I was a criminal? These people wouldn't allow me to remove the mask so they can take a picture for law enforcement. The mask is supposedly that important. So let me ask you where the mask was during this. I mean, surely, if masking up is that important, because to my knowledge, neither of these two women are sisters, nor are they lesbian partners. So they're not going home together. And one, to my knowledge, no. Here's the thing. One, to my knowledge, is a celebrity of some sort, like a musician or movie actress. The other one is a politician. Both of those fields expose these two women to an enormous amount of people-to-people interaction. So pathogens will have communicated to these individuals at a higher level than myself, who's basically leaving the house only to go and seek out graphic design jobs, right? These people come in contact with a slew of the population, and they collect all their pathogens, right, on their skin and their circulatory system and their cells, whatever. And now they're inches close to each other. That's not a social distancing issue? Let me guess. This bug, this virus, respects human decorum, right? Let's give them 10 seconds to take this photo op for the cover of Cosmopolitan and fucking Vogue and Mary Claire. Then after they take the photo, we'll give them a sporting head start. After they take the photo, they put their mask on, then we'll attack them. This is about control. That's what this is. Because law enforcement didn't find it important enough to see my face at a public building where criminals could be entering. They did not compel me to remove my mask right then and there. But these two socialites are allowed to remove their mask and break social distancing guideline. To my knowledge, these two women are not giants and the space between them 6 feet. These two women are normal size, which would make the distance between them less than 6 feet. They ignored masking up, ignored social distancing guidelines. We won't even ask if any of them have received a poke in the arm. They haven't. in my opinion. Okay? In order to have photos for the cover of magazines, Newsweek, Time, Mary Claire, Cosmopolitan, Better Homes and fucking Gardening, who knows? They're allowed to do this. Meanwhile, law enforcement didn't compel me to remove my mask. They can remove their mask for social decorum. They didn't compel me to remove my mask for public safety and criminal regulations. This is about control. That's what this is. The virus exists. I'm not anti-science. What I am saying is two things can be true at the same time. The virus can both be real, and these people can also be exercising control over you. All right. What else I wanted to actually discuss? I was actually trying to discuss. I don't know how we veered off into, this tax the rich bitch here, but I wanted to discuss the indigenous podcast thing that we had, right? Or Rad had, and then I dropped into there. After I left, people have been sending me links to, I guess, either streams or responses or whatever of critics, let's call them that, having unkind words to say about myself and some other panelists who were there. Give me a second. Some specifically one other panelist called Dave. Dave's positions were extreme. I'm not going to say I agree with Dave 100%. One of the things I did agree with him, which I'll touch on again at the end of this bullshit rant. One of the things I agreed with him is the flavor of that panel was very anti-Black. But let's go into things that I don't agree with him on. I don't agree with him that African Americans were the original Indians and they're the only Indians. What I agree with is that the ancestors of African Americans that we know now, it's possible that they were here too. Not that they started any, Aztec civilization, right? Or they were the founding of any such things, right? I'm saying that the entire idea of an ancient world being so separate is kind of flawed. And in the show, when I said this, I'd say half the panel who were indigenous, I think half was indigenous, right? There was a couple, the guy who showed up with his girlfriend, his Navajo girlfriend. There was another girl who was in some sort of college. Then there was the code talker up top next to Rad. And I think there was a guy who's out from LA or something like that, right? So when I said what I said, that the ancient world, now the reason why they attacked what I said is due to what it's attached to. Because when Truth Teacher said the very same thing, but what he said, which is identical to what I said, was attached to something else, they didn't attack Truth Teacher. In fact, they agreed with Truth Teacher. When I said that the ancient world is not as separate, or was not as separated and isolated by region as we believe it to be today, that it wouldn't be out of character. To find, like, let's say a Native American out there in the Pacific somewhere, or a Chinese warrior in Rome or something like in a gladiatorial arena, right? When I said these sorts of things, when I said that on the panel, I was attacked for it. I was ridiculed. I was called a moron, not verbatim, but that was the idea. Truth Teacher came in and said, "Yeah, there were things found, you know, uh, that Australian Aborigines had extensive contact with Native Americans, and this other group had contact with Native Americans, and South Pacific Islanders may have." Okay, so y'all agree then, because y'all just agreed with Truth when he came in and said that shit. But you know
Right.
what? They agreed with Truth because what he said was attached to black people not being here. Because Truth said that just because they look like black people, they have tightly curled hair, and they have melanin, wide lips, thick noses. Okay, so you just described.
Right.
Oh,
They ain't black. They're not
oh,
black, even though they
yeah, yeah,
completely look black.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
He's like,
ridiculous.
he yeah, basically he's like, well, it's metal. It has bullets in it. It has gas discharge mechanism, and gunpowder, and a trigger release mag. It's not a gun.
Right,
It's not
right.
a
It's not a
gun.
gun. It's not a gun.
Don't, don't subscribe to pseudoscience by indicating that this thing that's gas powered has bullets with gunpowder in it and cordite and releasable mags that you put on the bottom and a trigger release mechanism. And, and a rifled barrel. Don't be anti-science and call it a gun now.
Right.
It's like, what the fuck? Dude came through and said, yeah, well, you know, they have tight. Now that's the thing. When this is when and where I get angry with my own people. Right? This is when and where I get angry with my own people. Because you guys haven't seen me for at least 5 months, right? Or 4 or 5 months, probably. I don't show up here and argue pro-blackness. In fact, if you look at I was frankly surprised that the word going around out there is that Brotap is pro-black. I'm pro common sense. All the stuff that you see on my channel, it's just me noticing common sense shit and then speaking about it, right? And sometimes if I think it's funny, I might laugh while I speak about it. But
yeah, like if you see water, know it's water. And you just saying it's water doesn't mean anything. It's just, yeah, it's water.
like what the fuck? Right? And so this is why I get mad at my people. What the fuck are y'all doing arguing with these guys any damn way? Now, I know I'm being a hypocrite because I went on the panel and argued with them. But for me, that's like a one-off in like months. But you have people that come on there and argue to the death with these people.
Yeah.
There's no win. There's no win for you. Not you, Poach. Not talking about you. You come in there and you come in with stuff that dismantle their shit and you troll them while you at it. So I'm not even talking about you. I'm talking about guys almost like Dave, not necessarily Dave, but almost like Dave. Dave came in there, came in barking at him. I wouldn't have done that. But lots of black people, they come onto these panels where it's already established that these are borderline neo-Nazis in brown skin, that they are immensely anti-black, right?
I
Just
think so. You're not the only one
virulently
to say that. I'm starting to really notice that too. Because see, the thing is that I didn't want to hop on that live stream, even though I could have done it like, very early. I didn't want to do so because I knew that me presenting the research that I have done, when it comes to that topic, I knew that it was going to get a lot of people angry. Now, what you say is ultimately going to get somebody angry, like no matter what you say. That's just whatever. Like literally everything, somebody's going to get mad. You know what I'm saying? But, when I showed up there and I knew that Indigenous Podcast was there, I was like, you know what? Me saying that there's a possibility that there could have been what we would commonly call black people in the Americas prior to Columbus I think that's going to separate the friendship, or almost the connection that we have. You know what I'm saying? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you fine.
Yeah. And I knew that these people were going to interpret me as saying that, oh, you're saying that they were indigenous first, and that you're saying that, we have no place in America and it's them, and you're supporting black
Yeah.
supremacy as if such a thing exists. And I'm like, no,
Hmm.
no, 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 no. I'm talking about nuance here. And you thinking that,
Yes.
okay, well, you see, I'm the only person that's indigenous here, acting as if the new world was like the only world for this white race, right? I think that's wrong. I think that's bullshit. And honestly, at the end of the day, why do you think if you're so not racist against black people, why do you care that certain people, that the possibility that certain people in the past had big noses, dark skin, etc. Why does that bother you if you're so not racist? You know what I'm saying? It's like if you think that we're all
Hmm.
human and one species, why do you think why are you so angry of the possibility that there could have been black people in America? I don't understand. You
Yep.
know?
And even
I don't get
yeah,
it. I just don't
especially
get
since
it.
especially since what I and a lot of black people are saying is not even that we were the only ones here and that we started anything, we're the original da 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 da. That's why they keep lumping me in with Afrocentrism and all these different extreme positions, which I'm not. I'm not Afrocentric. You look at the thing I have here, the you look at the various avatars I use. They're like Greco-Roman and Viking and shit like that. I'm an appreciator of cultures, you know. Especially
Yeah.
I think drawing. Well, drawing was my what do they call it? Was my gateway drug into appreciating cultures. Now I inhale cultures, man. I love different cultures. In fact, one of the things before this influx of commissions that's kept me out of the game, one of the things I wanted to actually do was start looking into Norse runes and seeing what they mean and how the Nazis misinterpreted them. And because one of the things that the people over in, I don't know, Denmark and stuff like that, one of the things they're suffering from their government
Yeah.
is an erasure of culture due to what the Nazis did, right? So Nazis used
Oh yeah, like the Black
uh,
Sun. I get it.
yeah, the Black Sun, the SS, the Twin Lightning, and all these different
Yeah.
the swastika, obviously, the Odin rune, the sign of Odin, all the hammer sign of Thor. Those things predated Nazis, and they had nothing to do with racism, but because the Nazis tainted them, and the neo Nazis, who are a clear and present danger now, they're using that stuff, and so the governments of, I forget which country it is, so don't quote me on which country it is, but the governments of one of those countries has outlawed that cultural aspect. It's like, why are you
Mhm.
doing that? That's so you want that culture to disappear because some clown in a funny mustache fucked it up for, like, no, no, don't do that. So I'm not pro black. I'm not Afrocentric. I'm not any of these quote unquote extreme things. Okay? I love culture. But at the same time, being black and fucking proud of it, if you're going to come to my face and tell me all these different sorts of lies, you guys were only slaves wherever you were. Yeah, I'm going to have to challenge you on that.
Yeah,
So when
that's
I
not
challenge you
true.
on it, I'm
That's
at,
not true.
yeah, I
Can I
know.
say
But when I
something right?
challenge,
Can I say something right
yeah,
quick? All right.
sure.
First of all, shout out to me. You know what I mean? Big shout out to me. You know what I'm saying? It's your boy Radical Latino. Oh, your audience already knows me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Uh,
Looking right.
shout out to you. Shout out to you. Hopefully
Yo, what's
you'll
up,
be.
Brad?
Yo, what's going on, Pocho? Hopefully you'll be making your way into the panel later on today. But gotta first of all wanna say that I want to go by order with your rants. Um First of all,
Mhm.
how dare you
How dare you?
that you think that I interview nobodies, okay? They're my nobodies, all right? Let them be nobodies because I say no. No, I
No, there's
understand.
somebody's to you, Rad. There's somebody's to
Exactly.
you.
Exactly. No. I see what you're saying, and I totally understanding agree with what you're talking about. Like, who the hell wants to see an interview with a so-called just YouTuber? I get it, but in the same time, I've seen that many people who are in these spaces, who are content creators, who are in these visual spaces, giving good information usually get underlooked because of higher rated scholars or famous people, you know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? So that's the reason why I wanted to at least give the light to the small folks that are the usually a lot of people don't know about, and put them out there and stuff. Now,
Yeah. No, they
have
also
I
could have some
have
good
I
Yeah,
information. It's
yeah,
like
yeah,
I think that's what's
have I
important.
have I
yeah.
have I interviewed so-called nobodies for, I don't know, because I didn't have nothing to talk about that week? Maybe. Did, did I use them for
Macho comes to mind, Rad. Remember your interview with Macho?
yeah. Did I
Yeah.
Be
use
macho.
did I use them for filler? Some might say yes. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Some might
Oh
say
my
yes.
God.
Oh, but I tried my best never to go to that extra mile of
Mhm.
trying to dump on certain groups of people. I try my best not to do that, with most of my lives and most of my interviews and most of my content. I try not to go into that direction. If people do think or feel like I am, that's the reason I have it like open for other people to come in and talk their point of views. Now, secondly, about the panel that you were talking about a couple of minutes ago, uh I did feel
Mhm.
that some people did come. I mean, you spoke about this privately. Some people did come with their little, it was agenda heavy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Certain people said certain things that I was like,
Yeah.
no, that's a reach. That doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like that right there doesn't make sense. For example, I said a question why you think certain people would do that, and someone said, oh, maybe because they want attention, and I'm like, no, that's a reach. I think you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Wait,
I
what was this about?
that was part of the live.
What
Oh,
part of the
okay, gotcha,
panel?
gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So,
see, I see.
because I asked the question
Yeah.
on why you think these folks would want to, in your opinion, will want to go do that, and the individual said, he believes that they do that for attention, and I was like, I think that's a reach. I don't see certain people. You know what I'm saying? I don't see it like that, but I understand what you were coming from, and that's the reason why I made sure that certain words were deleted and blocked on that stream. I made sure that we actually had conversations because there is certain parts of this community and certain other communities that I am very very like interested into knowing the dynamics of why or how come, and actually having those type of conversations.
Yeah, like it's actually interesting.
Yeah. Would
Mhm.
you agree, Bro Tap, or do you disagree?
I think he cut out. Brotep, are you there?
Mhm.
Hello?
Bro Tap's computer went.
Yeah. Bro, that's soundboard, man.
Oh yeah, thank.
No, man.
uh,
No, man, but look, man, about that other stream, that you had, I think, like a few days ago. I didn't, I I didn't want to hop on because, at first I was thinking to myself, like, you know what, man, if I hop on this shit, I'm gonna make a lot of enemies. You know what I'm saying? Not that it
Yeah.
really matters, because at the end of the day, like, fuck these people, they're never gonna meet me in real life, and if they do, they better come in with a fucking Glock. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna go hard, right? If they
Yeah.
ever
Yeah.
try
Yeah. Yeah.
something. But still though, like online, the online presence, I guess you could say, yeah, I'm gonna make a lot of people angry if I come on and say, you know what? Hey, there's a possibility that Black people were here in the Americas. We all migrated out of Africa. The original man, we do have evidence that the original man was heavily melanated and had the features that you would usually associate with Black people. And a lot of people I just knew right off the bat were going to get pissed the fuck off
Yeah.
when if I were to just come on and present evidence, because there is evidence. Like, there's even new research that's coming out that not a lot of people are really aware of. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not gonna show up because, you know what? I really don't want that type of smoke up my ass, right? I don't want that type of smoke up my ass. But then after
Yeah.
listening to Dave making such outlandish, very ignorant remarks about how, oh, the Black man is like 1,000,000 years old and all that stuff, you know, he makes his points, he makes the overall thesis, the hypothesis or the theory of Black people being here in the Americas prior to Columbus. He makes it look like completely stupid. He makes it look like it's just like a creationist argument that people make or something like that, or akin to some type of creationist like lunacy. You know what I'm saying? Like, just something that's
Yeah.
completely anti-science and completely like butt fuck retarded. And
Yeah.
that's when I was like, okay, you know what? No, no, no. I got to jump in and offer some nuance, because
Yeah.
there is middle ground here. There is evidence that there were people that you would commonly call Black people that were in America. I mean, for fuck's sake, it's like, if you look at like the people of the Amanese Islands in Oceania, the indigenous people over there, if you look them up on Google Images, they're completely Black. Like, they're literally Black. Like, they have all the features of any Black person that you would come across on the street. If you were to look at one of those people, you'd instantly think that person was from some part of Africa, right?
Yeah.
But they're all the way in the islands of Oceania, right? The Amanese people. And I look at something like that, I'm like, you know what? How did these people migrate over here? And I'm starting to create the theory that these people are representative of the first waves of migrants that migrated out of Africa, and before mixing with anybody from any other lands, thus creating like light skin, genetic mutation. I think that these people are representatives of the original people that migrated out of Africa. This is how they looked like. The modern human, the first modern human, looked exactly like this. And I'm not, again, I wanted to talk about some of this stuff in that live, but people like Indigenous Podcasts and some other people that you had there, I knew that they were not going to take it well. I knew that they were going to take it as basically me espousing some type of so-called uh, Black supremacy, as if such a thing really exists. But, that's probably what they would interpret it as. And it's like, no, you have to understand that if we all come from Africa, and if the original man possessed the modern phenotype that you would associate as Black, that's not being quote unquote Black supremacist. That's just stating a fact. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That's just stating a fact. You don't have to
Yeah.
get all emotional about it. And if you're not racist, I really don't know why you would care. Because listen, I have Black relatives myself. Going back, I did a DNA test and everything. Going back several years ago, I myself have Black relatives. Now, my genetic makeup is not as, as big. I mean, I think I'm like 5.6% Black or something. But whatever, it's still in me. You know what I'm saying? So I know that I have ancestors who look Black, and I don't care. And why do
Yeah.
you care if there were Black people in the Americas if you're so colorblind and not anti-Black, and you think that we're all one species, we're all in it together to fight white supremacy? How come you have such a problem with the idea that, hey, there were people that maybe they're not 100% related to, modern day sub-Saharan Africans, but perhaps they were related more to like their archaic, their ancient ancestors who migrated out of
Mm.
Africa and
So
went to,
some
yeah.
people might be like, that's conspiracy. You know what I'm saying? Some people might
Yeah,
say
I get
that
it.
that might be. What do you think about that?
I mean, it's what what do they mean when they say conspiracy? I mean, I'm just talking about scientific facts. Now, if they think that like I'm saying that there's some type of cover up where like some people don't want you to know that indigenous people were black or whatever, I would say, I mean, I haven't seen any evidence of that, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of this information is actually widely available online. Like anybody could search this stuff up. I mean, I showed you, in the private chat that we had on Instagram. Hell, there are studies that were done in the past that where people were looking at very old skulls that were found in Brazil, like the Luzia skull, for example,
Yeah.
and and these people were looking at the craniometrics of the skull, right, to kind of determine the ethnicity and whatnot, and they found that the morphology of the skull is just similar more to like modern day Aboriginal Australian people, Melanesian people, and even sub-Saharan Africans, right? So a lot of
Mm.
this stuff I think is out in the open. It's just that not a lot of people really have an open mind to consider the possibility.
Yeah, I don't think
Um,
I don't think other people. I understand that when you're in a certain mindset, you want to see it your way, and you will go
yeah,
out and beyond and try to catch and find other things that approve what you've been wanting to see. So I
yeah,
get it. So
confirmation
I
bias.
Yeah, confirmation bias. I totally understanding. I get it 100%. But at the
Mhm.
same time, we have to be we have to be real and know that there's other truths out there. Two things can be true.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not gonna say that I don't 100% believe that black folks were
mhm.
not here. What I'll go far enough to say that I believe both people were here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Who was here
and
originally? I
people
don't know. But
bro, like people were sending me shit, man, like on Instagram, some old connections that I used to have. People were saying that, oh, like what the fuck are you talking about? Like, hey man, you got to stop with with the bullshit, like stop kissing black ass. And I'm like, dude, like first of all, I, listen, I'm not even black myself, right? And the fact that I'm coming to conclusions that there's a possibility that what you would call a black person might have been present in the Americas, like there's I have no skin in the game. I'm not, it's not like I'm a black person trying to make a claim that, hey, we were here first and we deserve this and that and the other. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just looking at this from an objective point of view, in the mindset that we're all humans and we're all one species, and every single person comes out of Africa. That's a scientific fact. There are
yeah,
no genes out there in the entire world, contrary to some claims by certain people. There are no genes out there that are only unique to one group. People from Africa possess all the genes because our
yeah,
ancestors come from Africa. That is a scientific fact. And these people are coming at me saying, "Oh wait, no, 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 no! You're promoting like that Hotep bullshit. You're promoting that white supremacy. I'm sorry, not white supremacy. The black supremacy crap." And I'm like, dude, no, I'm not. You
Did
gotta
they
really.
did they do they not know? Do they not know that Professor and Honorable Tariq Nasheed told us this? No, let me stop. Let me stop. Let me
Yeah,
stop.
the
Let me
great.
stop. Go ahead.
I'm a Hotep Jesus. I'm a Hotep Jesus.
No, let me stop. Go
Yeah,
ahead. Go ahead. Go
Hotep University. Yeah, I get it.
ahead.
No, man, but listen, like for real though, like you just gotta have an open mind. And look, man, the topic of the Americas really fascinates me personally because you know we we have always been taught in school, right, that oh, the Americas was only discovered, Christopher Columbus, and that's it. Nobody else discovered America, right? And we have been taught throughout our life, most of us, that there was nobody here in the so-called New World, that it was only maybe some of the Vikings and then Christopher Columbus, and that's it. And the possibility that there could be other people that were dark skinned, heavily melanated people, right? That were here living side by side with what we would call a native person, right? When you think of a native person, that kind of fascinates me. I'm like, wow, we really don't know much about the world, and it seems like we really don't because remember, When the Spanish came here, after they finished the colonization process, under the orders of King Philip, I believe it was King Philip V in 1576, he ordered the complete destruction of 99% of all the books, all the written, well, not the book, the written text and everything from the indigenous people. What we have today is literally only a shadow of what once was. Okay, under the orders of the Vatican, a lot of texts were completely destroyed. So we don't know the full picture of what actually existed in the past, but we have snippets of truth that we can take and connect the dots. You know what I'm saying? And that personally, that fascinates me because I've always been somebody that
Yeah.
was interested in mysteries, interested in, hidden history and stuff like that. That stuff fascinates me as a person. But please don't come to me saying that I'm supporting any type of black supremacy and that I'm this, that, and the other, and I'm kissing black ass because there's nothing in it for me. All right, I'm not black. You can clearly see that my face. I'm not black, right? So please get the fuck out of here with your bullshit. I'm somebody that has an open mind, unlike you. So that's all I got to say about that in terms of like
Mm,
responses and shit that people were sending me. Because
yeah.
if you're all listening to this, which I highly doubt you are, this is if you guys are listening to this, you gotta fuck off with that shit, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I agree. I don't know. I agree. I think Brotep is restarting his computer or something like that.
Mhm.
But I definitely agree. I do feel like I said, other people have certain agendas that unfortunately they wanna live by, and
Yeah.
it is what it is. I'm not saying that they're 100% wrong, but I think that the way that they're going about it with certain tactics, I believe that that's wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't even know
I
where
mean,
Brotep is,
well,
but
yeah. See, the thing with
I'm gonna
Brotep
have
is
to
that he
get out of
actually.
here. I'm gonna have to go, but I don't know if
Oh
Brotep is
shit.
gonna
Okay.
come here. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I just gotta like set up certain things and
Mhm.
to get my live ready. But I really wanted to leave, but
Okay, I see.
I gotta go anyway. Anyway, yeah, peace.
Peace. Anyway, guys, I guess it's just you and me, right? Who could have thought that I would be hosting the stream, right? Uh Oh my God. Okay. Well, we got a comment here from Guanaco Said. Bro, you gotta stop with that bullshit, man. Like your profile picture looks fucking retarded. Like you look like why are you trying to look like a gangster, bro? You look retarded. Are you like in high school or something, man? It's like you're like a wannabe cholo. Your hat is tilted to the side and you look like one of those like junior high wannabe gangsters. Like shut the fuck up, bro. Get some real style. And why are you even in these circles anyway? Like what the fuck do you have to offer? So he says here, who would you trust? A random autistic dude called Pocho? Well, first of all, that's not really an insult because I don't know if you know this, dumbass, but autistic people, not that I am autistic, of course, but autistic people are actually very intelligent compared to your average person. But a random autistic person called Pocho or an archaeologist that joined Amerindian Defense League. Okay, so first of all, you have to understand that the archaeologist, first of all, the fact that he's Native American already shows you that he's going to have a bias in a lot of the things that he presents. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just like his cultural agenda. But second of all, he's not the only archaeologist in the world. There are several archaeologists that have made the exact claims that I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? And they're certified, and they've been doing this, I think, much longer than whoever was on that podcast. So you got to have a little bit of some nuance, big guy. You got to have a little bit of an open mind. Jose Negron 2.0 says, "Good evening, Pocho. Hey, what's up, man? It's actually nighttime where I'm at. I have no clue where Brotep is at. Fucking, I'm literally hosting the show right now. Um, but yeah, man, I'm glad. I hope you're having a good evening as well. Like I said, man, you seem like an intelligent guy. I know that we've talked in the past. you should definitely hop on Radical Stream tonight. I think that you definitely have a lot of insight when it comes to that particular topic. But yeah, man, what's up? Roy Chess says blonde hair and blue eyes is one male pattern baldness for whites. Yeah, you know what? See, the thing is that I've actually heard from people say that baldness is very common amongst white people specifically, which kind of makes sense because where I'm at, it's like literally everybody who's over the age of 40, all the white people that are over the age of 40, they all have bald heads, like they're going bald. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's very interesting. We was Inca. Okay, whatever, dude. Get the fuck out of here, man. If I had the ability to block you, you would be blocked. Fucking high school, junior high wannabe gangster. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Baldness is not common on Amerindians and mestizos. Guanaco says, yeah. I don't. Well, I mean, I don't know. My uncle, a lot of the relatives on my mom's side are bald, so maybe it's common in my lineage. I hope I don't get it early on in my life, but whatever. They have the bozo type of baldness. Yeah, they really do, bro. Like literally almost all my neighbors, like over the guys that are over just a little bit over the age of 41, they're all completely bald. So I don't know, maybe there is like a genetic link to that. Anyway, I'm gonna get out of here because I don't really have a lot of to give in when it comes to anything because Brotep is not here, so I don't really have a lot of takes. So it was a pleasure speaking here for the moment that I could, of course. And I wish you all a good night. Goodbye.
Niggas are crazy. Black people, let me tell y'all something. If you don't ever hear me say preach again, they can kill me tomorrow. But let me tell you something. We're not going to ever get anywhere until we look into the mind of a black man. He doesn't think correctly. I don't care what he is. He can be a doctor. He can be an astrophysicist. The nigga ain't got no sense. You talk to him. You talk to a black man. He doesn't understand the world. He's never built anything. The most the black people have ever done, they did it here in America under white people's help. When they were in Africa, they didn't do nothing.
Right, my fault. I ain't worried about a nigga, but here's your burrito, homie.
Nigga, I ain't ordered no motherfucking Postmates.
Judging by your crib, you be smoking that good shit. You probably forgot you ordered Postmates. Go ahead, man, open the bag, man, jog your memory. Damn!
I'll be back. Ricky Tan. Get up, dog. Let's go. Come on. I've been looking for you everywhere. Let's go.
I'm busy at the moment.
Ricky, did you hear what I just said? I'm busy too now. Get on your feet. Get up. Get on your feet.
I know you. You are Lee's American friend, right?
No, I'm Lee's new muscle. And don't let this robe fool you. This is the only color they had left. Now I said get up. I ain't gonna say it again.
You Americans are so funny.
And you Asians don't hear that well. Little Ricky, get your little punk ass up out of that chair right now. I'm messing up my vacation. I told you to get up, didn't I?
Watch where you walking, nigga. Hey, what you say, nigga?
Watch closely. You're about to experience a nigga moment. Webster defines the nigga moment as a moment when ignorance overwhelms the mind of an otherwise logical Negro male.
What did you say, bitch, nigga? Hey, squeeze it, nigga.
Causing him to act in an illogical, self-destructive manner, i.e., like a nigga. Nigga moments are unpredictable.
Hey, wait, man, wait. This is stupid. Hey, you right, dawg. Look, let's put the guns away and go on about our business. Freeze!
But they all end up bad. If they had their own category, nigga moments would be the third leading killer of black men behind pork chops and FEMA. It's a fact. Now let's see how a nigga moment affects a white man.
Watch where you walking, bitch.
What did you... Wait a minute. I'm white.
Where you going? Don't you ignore me. This is a perfectly good moment to throw your life away.
A big misconception about the nigga moment is that it can be avoided by simply moving away from niggas.
Shut the fuck up for the 50th billionth time if you'd fucking listen. shut the fuck up for a second, too. Rape accusations discredit rape victims, which reinforces rape culture, which is part of patriarchy. The idea of certain people are inherently more valuable than other people because of superficial physical attributes is part of patriarchy. The idea that men should coddle and provide for women and or purchase their affections in romantic context is condescending and damaging and part of patriarchy. I'm reading, fuckface. The fact that women have long been shut out of dangerous industrial jobs by men, by the way, is part of patriarchy. The idea that women are too weak to fight or too delicate to function in a military setting is part of patriarchy. Is part of patriarchy. Part of patriarchy. I don't know if you're noticing a theme. Patriarchy. Anyways, I'm not done. Not done. Shut the fuck up. Feminists do not want you. Shut the fuck up. Let me finish my list. Patriarchy. 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 Feminists hate patriarchy. We do not hate you, fuckface.
Let me see. Can anyone hear me? Let me know if I can be heard. Type 1 if you can hear me. Damn it, StreamYard. And I know it's not as janky as my computer is. I know it's me because several other people, I'm speaking to them on Instagram, they're saying they have problems with StreamYard too. There's this other guy, what's his name? He didn't contact me through Instagram. It's just I know him, and I saw that he complained about StreamYard as well. Nerdrotic, Gary from Nerdrotic. He was like StreamYard. Yeah. Poach is asking if I'm good. I'm good, Poach. You can step back in if you. Oh, let me tell him to step back in. You there? Step back in. So, how's everybody doing this weekend? Right. So, to continue what I was talking about, I don't know at what point the gentleman stopped their discussion about the stuff, but I went on to Radical Latino's stream with this code talk on there called Indigenous Podcast. Now, I'm saying that kind of like tongue in cheek. I'm not disparaging the Native American community. All right. It's just that, you know, he kind of took his position a bit too seriously, right? So seriously that he wouldn't even consider facts from other people. Okay. So that's why I'm saying, you know, code talk or whatever. All right. So he thinks that it's, you know, a matter of life and death. Like when the code talkers were breaking the Nazi machines communication forms and stuff like that. But anyhow, that guy, there's something weird about him, in my opinion, where he will criticize African Americans. By the way, just to address something that someone said here while I was out. Hold on, give me a second here. What's this guy? Poach, welcome back to Bro Tactical Difficulties Live.
Yeah, what's up, bro?
Yeah, I got that Haitian Wi-Fi, bro.
Right.
Got that Haitian Wi-Fi. I got that Metro TPS. Feel me?
Black Megatron, bro.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Just in case, because we're living in the age of rage, right? Just in case, Bro Top just made fun of his own people. For those who don't get that joke, it's Metro PCS normally. I said Metro TPS, Temporary Protective Services, because Haitians have been going through a lot. First, the assassination and destabilization of their government by, unknown powers.
The powers that be. The powers that be.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere. No one was responsible for it, right? And then we had the earthquake, right? So, and now we have the border problem.
Yeah, I mean that is very curious. It's like literally there's no explanation as to how he got assassinated. None.
Yep. And it's the last we heard of the guys they caught too. Remember they caught like 20 guys? Where are they? Like the 20 guys. You know where those guys are? Those guys are either back in that country, with some money in their bank account with a note saying "job well done," or they're in the bottom of a ravine somewhere.
Agent 47.
Yep. Or in the bottom of a ravine somewhere. Right? They're either paid or dead. Paid or laid to rest. That's what they are right now. All right.
I've heard some people say that like the reason why they assassinated him, and they say they, right? Who is that they? They say the reason why they assassinated the Haitian president was because he was refusing the COVID vaccine. And I'm like, nah, they assassinated me. They killed him because he was against Western powers. Okay,
yes.
Let's be real.
Yep. It's whenever you don't go along with the program, you become a target. So that is what it is,
Yeah.
And speaking of going along with the program, that kind of dovetails into what I was discussing about the guy who came onto Rad's stream, or rather, he was probably the guest of honor because that was kind of like the water he swims in, or the protecting and maintaining of or maintenance of Native American culture, right? That guy, it kind of dovetails into what we're talking about with the powers that be, because he keeps appealing to authority. Whenever you have some sort of disagreement with him on the panel, notice he appeals to authority. Well, I have several accredited blah 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 and official archaeologists blah 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 blah. Those accredited and official people that he's talking about, no less than maybe 20 years ago, were the same people who suggested that he's not the original owner of this land. They were the same people who suggested that white people came over the Bering Strait, a bunch of people called Solutreans, came over and they started, Native American culture. Those accredited people, no less than 20 years ago, would have suggested that same thing. Those same people, no less than 5 years ago, with guys like Stefan Molyneux, were floating the idea around that the Native Americans died due to their own fault. Okay? Yep. The idea they were floating around is that the Native Americans should have gone out and mingled more. Shouldn't have stayed in their apartment so long because their immune system weren't strong enough to meet outside people. The Europeans met with other races and other different people. Right? That's my Jared Taylor. When Jared Taylor comes onto Stefan Molyneux's podcast, when he had them. They've the European met a whole lot of other people. They didn't fall sick and die of the pox. What does that tell you? Right? So right. They were suggesting right? They were suggesting that the European met up with a whole bunch of other people and they didn't die of the pox. Right? Africans of all different sorts across the continent. Southeast Asian people, Malaysians, all these different places, and they didn't die of the pox. They were saying that the reason why Native Americans died of the pox is because they should have gone out of their comfort zone more and met with other groups of people. Therefore, they would have encountered different pathogens and developed different antibodies like the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm.
They said the reasons why, and the thing is, I don't subscribe to it. I find it extremely insulting and disrespectful. But what I'm saying is those specific people that he's appealing to for authority, they are of that mindset because they floated that idea. Jared Taylor and Stefan Molyneux and Charles Murray and Richard Spencer, all these different people didn't get these ideas by themselves. They are not that creative. They are not, except for maybe Charles Murray. They're not that intelligent, except for maybe Charles Murray. Right? They're not that intelligent. They're not. Credit where credit's due. Charles Murray's an accredited author, right? And he's done very, very important and acknowledged things in the scientific community. Where I come at cross purposes with Charles Murray is when he uses a data distribution model like the bell curve, and then writes a book, The Bell Curve, and then suggests in the book, not verbatim. See, the thing that they always trip up, quote unquote, Afrocentrics on is that, well, Charles Murray didn't exactly say. No, he'll never exactly say. Is he fucking stupid? He didn't exactly say that we shouldn't spend money on educating black people, that black people are inferior. No, he didn't exactly say it. But what he was alluding to in the bell curve was that the cognitive disparity between the races is only due to things beyond our control. So therefore, any sort of effort or money that we're spending on education is money flushed down the toilet and effort spent in vain. Right?
Not that too, but also things like certain welfare benefits. They'll say that's a waste because black and brown people they'll never be above the white man. So why are you doing that?
Yeah, why are you giving them social aid or anything like that? They are who they are because they are who they are. Any help you give them will be basically wasted. That was the general idea, the energy that book exuded. So it's not like we were saying exactly the book says, well, black people are monkeys, blah blah blah. No, it alluded to it. Mm-hmm. So again, Charles Murray, out of that whole lot of them, I'm not directing us towards Charles Murray, but the rest of them, they didn't get those ideas by themselves. They got those ideas from the people that Code Talker on that panel was appealing to. And the girl who's another I appeal to authority person who was on that panel, she was doing that as well. She was saying, well, do you know that she said something that at the time, see what I do, I don't do the hair trigger thing. I take in what you have to tell me and I do my research and I come back. She was saying that, or I consider it more if I don't.
Everybody
do research,
should be like that.
Yeah, but even if I don't do an extensive amount of research or no research at all, at the very least, it's in my head and I'm chopping away and stripping away at it with the blade of common sense. All right, stripping away. Well, this doesn't make sense. Chop off. This doesn't make sense. Chop off until I'm left with the Occam's razor, the core Occam's razor of it.
Dude, I love that analogy, man. That was a great analogy, bro.
So
I'm chopping it all off until I'm left with the what's it called?
The Occam's razor. Occam's razors. The way I explained it to my
simple explanation is the one that's true.
Is the simplest explanation is the more likely explanation, right? So for those listening in, not you, I'd be preaching to the converted here, but for those listening in who have never heard of the term Occam's razor, basically, let me boil it down like this. It's more complicated than this, but let me boil it down to just give you kind of like a gateway drug. Hopefully you do your own research. Occam's razor is kind of like an axiom or a motto that let's say you're walking home from work and you're miles away. You're miles away from any body of water. Okay, you're in Las Vegas, for example, right? Desert, Nevada, and the street that you're walking home in, there's a swordfish. You know, those long those fish that you can only find in deep sea waters. Now you can say that aliens went over the Pacific Ocean, picked up a swordfish, dropped it here just for you. That's highly unlikely. You know, that's highly unlikely. Yet in the realm of infinite possibilities, it is a possibility. What's more likely is that a restaurant, right, that serves fresh seafood had it on ice like a truck was transporting it, and it bumped over that speed bump that you crossed in order to get home, and the back door opened, the fish fell out. That's more likely. Even though that's a series of incidents or incidences, that's unlikely. But in the scope of, let's say, aliens dropping it there, the food truck with the fish on ice is the more likely. That's Occam's razor,
Right.
if anyone's listening, right? More or less. You know, more or less. Go do your own research and come out with your own, understanding of it. So with what the girl said, I don't say girl. See, when we're living in the age of rage, so I have to put caveats to everything I say. When I say girl, I don't mean that she's not as intellectually capable as anyone on the panel. I'm not infantilizing her. I'm saying girl.
Wait, so is
You know,
girl is girl now is that some type of trigger word? I don't get it.
Yeah, girls are a trigger word now, according to feminists. Don't call them girl. That's why they were thinking of calling. Yeah. Thinking of calling Supergirl Superwoman and all these different things now. And Bond Girl, they changed it officially to Bond Women. Right.
Man, that's
So-
I'm not a girl, I'm a woman. It's like, okay, whatever,
Right.
fine.
Oh, by the way, if you call a 50-year-old woman a girl, she'll find it as a compliment. Just saying.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Just saying. Well, one joke I was told, and this I was told by a woman, was, and it's not really a joke, it's kind of like a meme for a vocally transferred meme. It wasn't anything like you find online. It's a vocally transferred meme. She was like, in 1979 or 1976, a hardcore feminist got off a plane in Italy, and she was going to see the Acropolis, or blah blah. That's Greece, though. She was going to she was going to see something in Europe, like in not Europe or Italy, like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, right? And she got off the airplane, and when she got through the airport, there were loads of cab drivers, Italian cab drivers. They were saying, Bella Bambina, oh, beautiful, you are beautiful, come in my cab, or whatever. Now, instead of saying, hey, they want my business, and therefore they're flattering me, she took it as in, stop objectifying me. Don't you know you're demeaning me as a person? I'm not a piece of meat. Hey.
Wow.
Now, she chose a cab, begrudgingly, and went about her business. Now, it's when did she tell me this joke? She says 2017. That's how far back she told me the joke. So it's 2017 now. That same woman is getting off a plane, and when she comes through the door, not one cab driver is saying anything. And at the end of the walkway, right, where the cabs are stationed on either sides of the road, she turns to them and says, why are you ignoring me? Don't you know that's demeaning and dehumanizing?
If it's not one, it's the other. If it's not one, it's the other.
Right. So, that's kind of who said this? Unsurprising. Cornell Brown. Cornell, the link is in the chat. It's a drop-in show. It's drop-in part 1. So I'll be doing these where it's not there isn't necessarily a topic or talking point. You can drop in and talk your shit, and say what you like. Let me put in the graphic. So it's not a Trojan talking to a sleeping frog. Hold on the screen. Where are we? Boom. Yeah. So the young woman, let's settle for that. Let's meet halfway. Not woman, not girl. The young woman who was on the panel. She said that she asked or posited, why am I rejecting the modern interpretation of history from the educational system made by quote unquote evil white men? She used an approximation of that. I never said anything about white people, but she used an approximation of that. Why are you accepting that? But you are rejecting that? But you're readily accepting the accounts from people like Columbus or the other explorers who said that they saw black people here in the Americas. And she said that, do you know that the artists who made these textbooks at the time of the explorers, right? The artists who made those textbooks at the time of the explorers, they drew in their illustrations, they drew the Native Americans and all these different people based on their own experience, and they drew them looking like dark-skinned white people. So why accept that, right? When I started stripping away with my Ginsu knife of truth at what she said, I started asking, textbooks during the time of, I don't know, Columbus. I'm not sure how widespread that was. I'm not saying there weren't any textbooks, but was that a thing? Like, did she mean? I don't know what she meant.
Yeah, like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't know. But did she mean like books that were used by the aristocracy and the clergy? And those were the people with textbooks. Is that what she meant?
Yeah.
Because I was talking about mass education or miseducation, as it were, as per my critique of the modern educational system, right? So I was talking about mass miseducation of people now, where you have thousands and thousands of, hundreds of thousands even, of textbooks with inaccurate things about, let's say, the solar system, where they're saying the Earth's atmosphere stops at, I don't know, the stratosphere or whatever. Now we know that the Earth's atmosphere extends all the way out to the moon. I didn't know this. They just discovered this. And as per their new discovery, they're going to have to redo all those different textbooks, right? So
that's right.
Science
Not
is
just that,
fluid.
but I think a good example of what you're talking about is the sizes of the continent. I don't know if you remember this,
Right.
but
Yeah.
You did an episode about this, I think 5 months ago, right?
Yeah, we did. Yeah. That the sizes of the continents. And here's the thing, right? Because I'm going to explain this, not because I'm selling out or I'm, dancing, beating around the bush, or that that Bro Tap's gotten soft. The reason why I'm about to explain this, the way I'm about to explain it, is because anything I say here is going to end up as per, I've been using as per a lot. That's fucking pedantic. Via all the sites that my channel is connected to for my artwork and for my comic book related things, every word that comes out of my mouth here goes across some sort of geek site. And in those geek sites, these people don't want to hear about this stuff here. Not only that, but if you say something that even remotely comes off as bigoted or can be misinterpreted, they're not going to do research. They're not going to look you up. They're not going to look in depth into it. They're just going to cut you off. So I'd be fucking with my money if I don't give caveats to things I say. Right? So as far as I'm sorry, what?
Hey, finish that thought, bro. I'm liking it.
Yeah, no, it's just I'm trying to formulate in a way. See, the thing is, we get quote mined. And once we say on here, give me a second.
Yeah, we do get quote mined. Somebody could be listening in and try to cut out certain things, do little snippets here and there, trying to form a picture that is not real, that's not akin to reality. I get it.
Exactly. And once we say something here and it leaves our mouths, goes into whatever mechanism. I'm not a technical guy that translates it into the zeros and ones on the internet. We have no control over what someone else does with it. Editing software is open source now, right? They can just get open shot Audacity and cut up everything you say to make it seem like you said something fucked up. Now, that being said, white people are not evil. White supremacists are evil. Black people are not stupid. Extremist black people are stupid, just like extremist white people as well. Okay, so when we have someone like these people who came on here, the code talker, the young woman, and these other individuals, they come in on the defensive. They already came in with an idea in their head that black people are gonna come in here on some quote unquote "we was Kangs, we created everything under the sun" energy. So they already came in with not only ready baked boilerplate talking points, they also come in with hair trigger nerves, like immediately as soon as Brotep says anything, yeah, well, that's not intellectually sound. You didn't even let me finish the sentence. In fact, when Truth Teacher comes in and basically says the same thing, you applaud him. Because when I said it, I came in and said it, it was attached to, hey, since everyone and their mother was on this continent as well, Malaysians, Southeast Asians, Romans, Italians, before the Italians that we know came here, as in reference to the link that you sent me, Poach, that even the Italians were here before the Italians.
That's right. That's right. And for those of you who don't know what he's talking about, if you actually do some Googling, they made a new discovery that shows that it's very possible now that there were people in Europe might have been aware of the Americas before Christopher Columbus expedition.
Yes. Exactly what I was telling them there. Like, yo, everybody, like, you look up these things, and when I said that they come in on the defensive, it's not only in reference to responding to black people. They come in on the defensive on everything. So I brought up, hey, do you know that they found etchings on cave walls, not cave walls, but on monuments, very specific monuments and places of worship that had Chinese etchings on them here in the Americas, next to Native American etchings? Do you know that? No, you didn't know that. But, well, our accredited archaeologists said the Chinese weren't here, so that's just another. Yeah, okay, you're appealing to authority again, right? Those etchings didn't show up by themselves. Okay, they found Roman coins here. So before the Italians were Italians, they were here. And before the Italians en masse knew about this place, Italians were here. Then later on, like here. 2 or 3 right? We was here. So the Italians that we know of, the Italians of note in our textbooks now, the Columbius, the Pizarro, and all these different people, they were newcomers. They were Johnny-come-latelys. They were probably like 2nd or 3rd wave Italians that came here. The Romans were here first. They found Roman coins. So now you're going to get pro-indigenous Native American League archaeologists who have agendas themselves. You're going to get them to discredit things like physical things and like add nonsense. Well, I don't know why there were Roman coins found here, but, archaeological finds, well, that's an archaeological find if you think about it. Well, other archaeological finds don't support Romans having stepped foot and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but, okay, so Are we doing the reverse Occam's razor thing? Aliens picked up a chest of Roman coins from Julius Caesar and dropped that shit here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like,
yeah, that's what they're doing. That's what they're
that's
doing.
what- they found pieces. Now, don't quote me on this. It's been a long time since I've read this, but they found pieces from the hulls of Chinese ships here, right? So, somebody crashed here, like a Chinese ship crashed here. I think they found, and the Chinese, respect where it's due. The Chinese were at their golden age, like in their heyday. The modern Communist Party of China is not gonna like what I have to say, but in their heyday, back in those dynasties, right, dynastic China, they were the leaders of all that stuff. They had cruise missiles. Did anyone here know this? If you're in the audience right now, and you've seen our cruise missiles, our smart bombs, do you think that we came up with it first? Press 1 if you thought we came up with it first. All right, the cruise missiles. The Chinese had cruise missiles. The Chinese had smart bombs. They had a rocket, because they had gunpowder, which they used. They gave the idea to the world that they only used it for fireworks. That's why we get that in all these textbooks. Well, the Chinese had gunpowder. They used it for fireworks. That's wrong. They used it for bombs. They had ship-to-ship warfare, where they pulled up to their, the ships of their enemies, wherever those people were, and those enemies saw tubes flying at them, and those tubes, when they landed on the ships, exploded. That's what you call a fucking rocket, right? So the Chinese had cruise missiles. They had smart bombs, rockets. They had these missiles where they had a timed. They had 2 charges in it. The second charge is deeper than the missile, and it had a second charge. So in the air, the first explosion goes off, and the protected missile inside of it is still flying, and it has another fuse, and that gets inside your ship. They had that stuff before, centuries before we do. We have that now in modern terms, right? The SS Nimitz, or I don't know the names of all these ships we have now, but they have that before. So it's not inconceivable if the Chinese had these sorts of technologies that they could have traveled here, right, and left something behind. So when we find this stuff, why are you getting on your defensive soapbox saying, yeah, it's just another effort to rip Native American people off from their righteous blah 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 blah? No one said this.
Yeah, dude, I was gonna say something about that too, and I had to say this because I need to get this kind of out of my chest. You know what I'm saying? But bro, this is something that a lot of people, and I mean like pretty much everybody from that podcast, they were sending me this stuff. Like they were saying, hey, you believing in these types of theories of other people, because I also believe that not just Black people were here. I think that a lot of different people traveled to the Americas.
Loads of different people.
Yeah. But this is what they always tell me. They say, hey, you're promoting some type of indigenous erasure. You're basically saying that we're not indigenous people to this land. And I'm kind of getting like some ethno-nationalist vibes from these people, because it's like, okay, well, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like land is land. Land is just soil. Like that's all it is. And throughout human history, people have been migrating left and right from all types of different areas. And I'm like, okay, so, you really have this whole thing about this whole concept of land. It's our land. It's our land in your mind. It's like, are you trying to promote some type of indigenous ethno-nationalism that would basically be, I guess you could say, the native version of like white nationalism? Is that what you're trying to do? Like, hey, blood and soil, it's ours,
Yeah, I was just gonna say that it's basically blood and soil. It's basically blood and soil. Especially that guy. When he came through, listen, he went on this rant. I forget what time, I forget where along the timeline that he said but he basically he parroted and mirrored something that Jared Taylor once said, but used to repeat after he got called on it. Around 2013, give me a second here.
Sure. Yeah, but while you're out, yeah, I mean, it does sound very ethno-nationalist in nature. You know, it's like, okay, well, nobody was here prior to Columbus. We were the only people here. We were the only people here for centuries and centuries and centuries. We were invaded, blah blah blah, and any type of nuance of other people that have that could have traveled to the Americas, that's all wrong. It's racist. It's like, wait, but how's that racist? It's like, we're not justifying any type of erasure of people. I have no clue why the ideas of other people being here, like that creates such a problem. Unless you believe that you guys have some type of natural right to land that other people that belong to other groups don't, which would be by definition nationalist in nature and would be akin to ethno-nationalism, since we're putting ethnicity at the center.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. They basically have translations. What it is, they got the blueprint, and then they're now taking away key parts of that blueprint and inserting themselves in. So it's a blood and soil blueprint, and the for the fatherland blueprint, but they're removing yeah, and they're just inserting themselves, because the same language that I used to get when I trolled white supremacist pages, I'm getting the same, or I was getting the same language on that panel, where Code Talker dude was like, Africans, especially the Africans here, there were sub-Saharan Africans and weren't as developed as, who were not even as developed as the North Africans. I'm like, wow. So there was really no point to what you were saying. There was no point. It's just you throwing a jab at black people.
Yeah, I noticed that too. It was towards the end, right, where he said that, Northern Africa built all these great civilizations, and Sub-Saharan Africa, well, they're not as advanced. Let me just put it that way. He literally said that.
Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, I won't argue as to why. Cornell, hold on one second, Cornell. I'm actually putting the link up, so if you want to just drop in, because it seems, well, I mean, I guess I have to wait for StreamYard to cooperate. It's not cooperating. But yeah, he literally said this. And the only thing that I could think of, the flashback that I got, was when around 2012, Jared Taylor had uploaded a video onto American Renaissance, his former channel. I don't think it's still up. I think it's defunct now.
Yeah, it's not.
And what Jared Taylor did on that video was basically float out some talking points that were not true, and it was half not true and half so fucking what, right? Let me explain what that is. So he said he said black people, especially in sub-Saharan sub-Saharan black people, sub-Saharan Africans, never built a house that was more than one story tall, never invented the wheel, and never built a ship
or the calendar,
or the calendar, or any written language.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me break all that down. I'm gonna start breaking all that down, and why I said it. Half of it is true, and the other half is so fucking what. The 2 or 3 story buildings. The thing is, while he's not as intelligent, in my opinion, as someone like Charles Murray, Jared Taylor's not a stupid man, so he knows, in terms of societal evolution, why societies built 2 or 3 story buildings. It's to store grain and other things that they wanted to keep away from floods. That's literally why you would build anything past 2 stories, like any habitable structure past 2 stories. It's to because if you have something on the ground floor and there's stuff you need protecting, you know, you will raise it up. So you'll find a lot of places, including like the Netherlands and stuff like that, where their early structures, you saw that they were storing grain and other things that they didn't want flooding.
Yeah, like weapons,
That they didn't want.
weapons too.
Yeah, well, yeah. Hold explain what that is. So he's. Let me mute this tab. I had a feedback loop for a second there. All right, feedback loop is over. Let me drop in. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can actually. Nope, I still can't. I still can't copy and paste this. So let StreamYard be how StreamYard is. So you want to. Yeah, you want to store things like grain, like meats, perishables, babies, your babies, right? If you have things that will threaten them in on a ground surface, on the ground floor, you want to raise it up. And no matter, animals do this. So why are you telling me that black people couldn't have done it? If you want to be demeaning, you could say that animals are smarter than black people, but hey, I guess we can have that conversation. But animals raise like birds don't build their nests on the fucking ground. They have access to the ground just like we do. They build their nests way the fuck up, away from your ass. Animals do this. You think we as humans and Africans wouldn't have figured out, hey, you know, we're getting mass flooding. Let's make a 3rd-story building so we have access to the bottom, but we can also climb up some fucking steps and go.
That's a good point.
So the reason why, common sense wise, Africans would not have built any third of. We didn't fucking need it. Why do we need it? We were in places like we migrated a lot. So if there's flooding in one area, fuck it. Plenty of land. There's virtually nobody here for miles and miles. Let's walk over there where it's not flooded. You're gonna expend fucking effort that could go towards hunting and you know the precursor of farming. You know, like before mass farming, you're gonna reroute your energy from doing those crucial survival things so that you can do something that's not necessary. No.
Yeah.
The second thing he said was written language. First of all, he's wrong, but the so fucking what aspect of it is, again, so fucking what? Our population, we were tiny different tribes all over. We weren't a big cohesive fucking nation. When it suits the racists, they love bringing up that Africa's not united. They love bringing it up. So keep that same energy when it comes to something like a written language. You have tiny little tribes, someplace like Rwanda, for example, where they pretend it's only the Hutus and Tutsis there. There's like 20, 30 different groups of people there. The main 3 groups are the Twa, the Hutus, and the Tutsis, but there's like, you know, separations, like 20, 30 different kinds. So Africa's never been united, so it's tiny little groups of people. They didn't have a crucial need, at least a lot of those groups didn't have a crucial need to sit down and dry fucking parchment to process wood and dry the bark into parchment and then go through the process of making ink to write shit down. They had other concerns. So it's like, so fucking what? Those different groups didn't have a writing system. But it's untrue part of what he said was, yeah, there were plenty of different writing systems. They weren't necessarily languages, like around the quote-unquote sub-Saharan regions. They had Adinkra systems and all these different things. And when Islam came in, you know, with the Moors, who, yeah, there were black Moors too. We'll get to that later on, right? When the Muslims came in, they gave them, you know, more structure, and they made writing systems based on Islam. And one of the reasons why they hate giving us credit for Egypt or even having been close to Egypt is because Egypt had one of the first written languages that's not Arabic and non-Muslim, right? So
Right.
in order to keep the idea that black people are fucking monkeys, they will never let you, no matter how much proof you show that black people were in Egypt, even in basic aristocracy, not even as pharaohs, but like basic advisors to the king, or high priest and medicine people. No, you get none of that. Engineers, no, you get none of that. You were slaves, and then you were monkeys before they brought you in as slaves. That's the idea, is that these guys, that's what's connected when these guys come in with what Code
Yeah, that's the
Talker
type of
was
energy.
doing.
That's the type of energy that they're coming in with. They're not coming from like
Yeah.
a position of, hey, I'm just trying to understand history. I'm trying to look at history from an objective, unbiased way. No, they just want to. They want to. They have a narrative that black people.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of disgusting too, because it's like we do have evidence that there were black people all throughout. I'm not going to go through it here unless you want me to. But I got a lot of evidence that there were black people all throughout in pre-dynastic times. So they can miss me with that bullshit.
But here's the just before I move on to that, there's something. If you guys Google, I'm not gonna show it here. I'm not gonna give it oxygen, but I'm sort of giving it oxygen by even referencing it. But there's something, if you type in "we was dick washers," basically, when the racists find a piece of evidence that's so clear, so concrete, they can't refute it. What they do is they ridicule it, in the hopes that ridicule will keep people from looking at it. They found an Egyptian cartouche where clear, undeniable black people, right? Usually they go, well, the ink on that figure right there, the ink on that figure on the wall, it's only dark because the ink aged over time. It was originally supposed to be yellow. Well, okay, those black people on that cartouche were next to other people who were colored differently. So if that ink faded, that the other ink on those other people should have faded as well. There were clear black people there, and those black people were performing circumcision on, I think at the time, the royal family was some light-skinned individuals, and those black doctors were performing circumcisions on the royal family's men. And one doctor, you can see the doctor. Those of you who are looking at, hey, Goddess in Training, long time no hear from. How you been, sister? One of those doctors is clearly restraining the patient, because this is at a time when anesthesia is not where we wanted it to be, right? Maybe they found a couple of plants that have numbing properties, but anesthetic science was not at its pinnacle, let's say. So
Yeah.
you have the guy back there holding on to the patient, restraining them, while the other guy is applying the anesthetic with one hand and has a clear cutting tool in the other hand. And this cartouche was floated all through 4chan and 8chan and all these different places as y'all were dick washers. Okay? This is what they do, and this is the energy that Code Talker, and I have to stop calling them that, and let me stop being petty, that indigenous podcast was tapping into. That's what he was tapping into, where he would do this. So this is just a side note of pertaining to when you said that, yeah, there's evidence of black people being in Egypt. Yeah, there was. Even if let's even say no pharaohs were black, right? We know that that's not true. But let's say there were no pharaohs. Yeah. But let's cede that ground. Let's cede that ground to the racists and just say no pharaohs were black. We're gonna argue that the black doctors we saw in that cartouche was black. We're gonna argue that? Really? So moving on back to Jared Taylor, and the third thing he said, which was part of it was not true, and the other part was, okay, so fucking what? Right? he said that and the sub-Saharan African has been in existence for thousands of years and never once invented the wheel. Okay, Jared, you have been in existence for thousands of years. The jury's still out on whether you invented the wheel. See, the wheel showed up thousands of years ago somewhere and just kept on popping here and there based on conquest and trade. Okay? Conquest and trade. That's where the wheel kept on popping up. Nobody can lay claims to having invented the wheel. Every 7 years or so, they find a new, older wheel somewhere else. They'll find some in the Balkans. They'll find some in Mesopotamia. They'll find some in Egypt. They'll just keep finding it over and over again because it's based on need.
Like we even
need
have toys. We even have toys from like the Mexica people from the Aztecs, like toys for children that depict wheels.
Yeah. So it's like these people. Hold on one second. Cornell says, y'all should have seen Richard Spencer actually try to argue that. No, well, he did try to argue that. Richard Spencer, the reason why I was kind of like reading them before Poach is Richard Spencer is on record as saying there are no trains in Africa. I mean, like right now, 2021, there are no trains in Africa. There are no railroads and trains in Africa.
You know, I've heard some recent news about Richard Spencer. It's funny that you bring him up because I saw a video from CYT recently where they were reporting that Richard Spencer is he's kind of like depressed and really sad because like everywhere he goes, people are just hating him and he's becoming like an outcast.
Yes.
Who didn't do anything for the movement.
Yeah. Oh boy. I hate saying this, but Richard Spencer is, I don't like reporting the demise of anyone. Not physical demise. He didn't die. But like as far as his career or his social life, both are dead. All right. His image, both are dead. See, you got that white admixture, man. See, you found the words, man. Now that white admixture at work, Poach. You got that white, that Spanish, white blood.
Bro, that's Spanish.
Just like these white supremacists told Michael J. White he's not black because he stumped them on a whole lot of points. He was having an exhibition. This is on Vlad TV's interviews. He was having an exhibition because Michael J. White is the bomb martial artist. He was having an exhibition, and after the exhibition, someone was passing out flyers to everyone except him. Right, all his white martial artists were getting flyers, and then he's like, whoa, what am I, invisible? What's going on? So when he got the flyer, he saw that it's basically a white supremacist, white separatist flyer, right? Almost a booklet, like you flip through it. And he was like, wait a minute. So he chased them down in the parking lot, got to their truck, and he's like, wait, where are you going? Let's have a conversation. And Michael J. White basically broke down all their stuff, like all of their talking points and arguments. He destroyed that shit. And he not only proved to them that racism is stupid, but he actually even explained to them that they're not even racist. They're just misguided because they're basing all their ideology on nonsense and misunderstandings and misinterpretations, right? Mm-hmm. And so at the end of all that, they said he's obviously not black. That white admixture's response. That white admixture is responsible for him being as smart as he is. Now, I don't know if any of you guys have seen Michael J. White. If anyone will say this man's not black, but they tried to float that out there. Right. Let me go back to Jared Taylor real quick. Cornell, what's going on, Cornell? What's going on, my brother?
Happening? Can you hear me?
What up? Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, good.
So somebody with a deeper voice than mine. I don't have to hold it down by myself, man. So now,
we got to stick together, bro.
There you go. You know what I'm saying? Baritone supremacy. You feel me?
Man.
That's a baritone
Conquering
supremacy.
the airwaves and everything.
Conquering the airwaves.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, listen, Jared Taylor had all these different all three talking points, and stopped to come back to what I was saying, Poach, is that he stopped to promote that. Jared Taylor himself stopped to promote that, and the video can't be seen anymore. You have to go in the Wayback Machine to find the video. He removed it.
Are you serious?
He removed it because look, the thing is, we can say a lot about Jared Taylor, but stupid is not one of those things. He's not stupid. He knows when he misguides you and misleads you, it's on purpose. It's not because he's stupid and he's unknowingly misleading you. No, he knows what he's saying is bullshit. But when he said what he said about the wheel, the written language, and what's the third thing he said? The 2-story buildings. Right. Not only did he discount places like Kush, Nubia, who had structures. There was another one too. I forgot they have illustrations before the colonial powers came and burnt that shit to the ground. There was a major city with records of people trading, and there were 2-story buildings with glass windows and all these different things, and churches and you know. That's in the portrait. It's drawn by an explorer who drew that stuff and made records of there was a guy at the time, you know, the record of the transactions. The guy bought something for some chickens and 43,000 dinars. Either he bought chickens for 43,000 dinars, that's some expensive poultry, or he bought something and chickens for 43,000 dinars or something like that. But it's stuff that you can look up, right? And Jared Taylor disregarded all that stuff. He basically spread that lie. And then when people were making, even his fellow racists were like, hey, you know, we shouldn't be spreading this because people are stupid, right? Who's going to invent 3-story buildings when they don't have to? Right? Who's gonna what major things? You think of a small tribe in Africa, let's say the Khoisan, right? Who they're that tribe who some say that they're so ancient that they're the origin of the Asian race because they have the epicantral fold in their eyes, right?
Right.
The Khoisan are a bunch of tiny. They're not even one cohesive people. They're a bunch of tiny little families that, you know, they maintain. Some of them, you'll catch some of them even with cell phones, but after they finish talking to you over you know on Sprint PCS or whatever, they go right back to their tribal lifestyle because that's what they prefer. They've been walking around with babies on their backs and you know, a bowl of water on their head forever. That's what they choose. What need do they have? What major thing are they transporting that they need a vehicle with wheels? They're not Egyptians. They're not transporting massive blocks to build, you know, to build pyramids, right? They're not Romans. They're not building a Colosseum. They're tiny different tribes, 5 or 6 members a tribe, you know, families. So it's immensely fucking stupid to
they're not building a giant pyramid to sacrifice somebody and turn their brains out like the machine.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not gonna disparage. Don't disparage another those other cultures. Now the thing is,
no, I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
They didn't have a need for that stuff, so they didn't invent that stuff. Just like the written language, like we've been speaking right here. The natural inclination is to just tell you something. Anytime I have to stop here and just type something out, I feel burdened, right? Not everyone's gonna feel like they have to write things down. So why write it down if you don't have to, right? So these things were based on necessity. When you pluck out people, let's say someone from an Igbo tribe or Yoruba, do you know how many doctors, engineers, and lawyers and all these different people are from the Yoruba stock that are in England right now, in France right now, in the United States right now, in Australia right now, in Canada right now, in New Zealand right now, those people are not stupid people. You pluck them out of an environment where they accepted and embraced a tribal lifestyle, a Stone Age lifestyle, where they commune with nature. You brought them to somewhere they had to adapt, and they adapted. They became doctors. These are not stupid people. So, like, I'll tell you, man, I've been in the United States for a long motherfucking time. Not to give away my age, it's a long motherfucking time. And I have yet to meet a Nigerian bum. I just haven't seen it. A Nigerian homeless person, haven't seen it. Ghanaian homeless guy, what do you call him? A hobo? Haven't seen it. These people, when they come here, the intellectual caliber that they apply to their craft elevates them to the top echelons of their field. So Jared Taylor had to stop saying that, and he removed that video from the interwebs. You have to go to the Wayback Machine or really search YouTube, like with a fine-tooth comb, to find that shit. But Indigenous Podcast repeated something that Jared Taylor left behind about 6 years ago. That's how backwards this guy is with his anti-black ideology. Cornell, I've taken up a lot of airwave. Do you want to chime in or, talk about anything you want? It's the drop in, man. That's the show we have in here. You can talk about whatever you want.
Well, I remember I came in maybe about half an hour before that thing ended, maybe. And
okay.
Yeah, when that guy was talking about like erasure and stuff, and I'm seeing this picture of like something talking about Afrocentrism and Native Americans, and it was like he was trying to make this argument that by there being black people claiming that they were Native American, that's promoting like Native American genocide or something.
Yeah.
And like when I saw
that's usually
that,
their argument. Yeah.
but I'm like, wait a minute, we've got $5 Indians all over the place, and like, and what was he saying? Because they were making some sort of argument about when they were trying to make an argument against the black people being Native Americans. I was thinking to myself, because I'm remembering incidents, people looking back in time and discovering that there were all kinds of racists of the past that were screwing up people's identity and reclassifying them as Negro and stuff, and mixing different groups together and stuff like that. So for those people who actually legitimately were, and I have cousins who legitimately did come from Native American backgrounds, are we just going to completely disregard what they said? And then, of course, when we start getting into that topic, it becomes like, okay, so maybe her great-grandmother was a Native American. Is she not Native American anymore because she is classified as black now? So just stuff like that. It was like there was this conscious attempt to disregard greater information or the nuances of certain things, to continuously paint this almost fear-mongering narrative for those who
see, the thing with those guys is that
absolutely.
I've noticed something very interesting about that goes in hand with exactly what you're saying, Cornell. That is that in the live stream, I mentioned a person named Vicente Guerrero, right? And Vicente Guerrero, if you don't know who he is, he was in Mexico, right? And written records show that he was of Afro or Afro extraction, right? That's who the man was. And I said in that live stream, I was black. That's what I said. I said he was the first black person, right? Similar to Barack Obama. Barack Obama was somebody of mixed heritage, but Barack Obama was the first American president. So I say that he was the first black president of Mexico, and I noticed that I started seeing a lot of people in the live chat say that Guerrero was not black because he was mixed. He was mixed with indigenous and mestizo or whatever. And I kind of questioned myself. I'm like, you know what? These are the same people who say that the same so-called mestizo people today of Mexico are indigenous. That if it's a matter of you're Hispanic or African or Asian or whatever else, we can still claim indigenous because we still have that roots in us. And well, by that logic, what's stopping someone like Guerrero from identifying as black despite his admixture, right?
Yeah.
Him identifying as black, but you're completely okay if we identify as indigenous or natives. We're half white. You know what I'm saying? To me, it kind of points to, and I hate to say this, but it does kind of some type of anti-black. I don't know if it's conscious anti-blackness or maybe subconscious anti-blackness, but it's there. It's there. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah, it's anti-blackness because, you know, if I or Cornell told these guys, well, you know, I have Native American in my family, they get in our ass, right? But somebody like Dog the Bounty Hunter with his racist ass, if he tells them he's part of that tribe, they readily accept that shit. I have not seen one. Right. You know how many times Dog the Bounty Hunter's racist ass is prancing around here with all kinds of beads around his neck, talking about he's part Navajo, part Cherokee, all these different things, and no one says anything to him. After all these racist things, maybe that's the past. That's the way in. You got to say something anti-black. Now you're part of the club, because this guy, Dog the Bounty Hunter, remember that nobody gave a fuck about his show after, like, I don't know, 2000, until he showed up in the news speaking to his son because his son was dating a black woman. And then he was saying, we say the N-word around here a lot, and the last thing I need is some fucking N-word to be around there and pick on that up, misunderstand us, and then go tell that our family says the N-word a lot, right? In my opinion, the simple solution would be maybe you should stop saying the N-word, you know, so wantonly, right? But yeah, I guess that's just me. But that guy, Dog the Bounty Hunter, says he's Native American. No one's challenged him on it. Look, this is a guy who, I don't know if he's in California or in Nevada or in Florida, but he's obviously somewhere where he gets tanned, right? What's on him? He doesn't look natural. He's somebody who's tanning a lot, up to the point where his skin looks like leather, right? And you guys accept him. When I say you guys, I mean the indigenous nationalists, indigenous extremists, whatever you might want to call them now. Y'all accept him without any reservation, no pun intended, without any restriction or without any, stricture, if that's even the word or properly applied. So Cornell's right that you guys are being selective. Pocho as well. You said the same thing, that you guys are being selective. It's very convenient. It's erasure depending on who it is that's embracing Native American heritage. If it's, let's say, Will Smith comes out and says it, well, he's got money, so maybe they're willing to accept him more, right? Let me see who's this on here. Bounty Hunter dude, been called out many times and exposed as a fraud, just like that other lady politician, Warren, Elizabeth Warren. Is that who you mean, Daniel? Daniel Valencia. Indigenous ancestry, yes. Indigenous, not just like Afro descendants or Afro descended, but not part of any Black African ethnic group. I don't know what you mean by that, Daniel. I don't know what you mean by that. What else?
Well, I'm
What
assuming
else
he
did we
means
want
like
to?
we were cut off from languages or cultural customs and stuff like that. So
Oh, okay.
groups like I don't know the Ghanaians or the Ethiopians won't really identify with us like that. So
Yeah.
uh,
You know,
Gotcha.
so,
Gotcha.
on, on that note, I got smoke for my people and immigrant black people right now. I got smoke for them. Yo, and I found myself the last few days, especially after that panel, I found myself getting very, very angry at non-African American black people. Let me address Haitians real quick. Nou fout reme blanc trop. Et ça fait ap kale nou nan frontière, c'est faute nou liye. Et faute nou liye. Bon vermine. Alors, le ou te vin la avant, et pou te wè Américain noir, a bataille pour droit yo, et puis yo ta bataille pour droit nous tout. Nous pas vle mette main pour ensemble pour nous dire. Eh bien, qu'on y a wap souffri circonstances qui viennent avec ça. C'est ça qui a passé là. Nous pas qu'à blame les Américains noirs pour ça qui a passé là, attendez? Nous pas qu'à blame yo. C'est faute pas nous. Nous te gen chance nous pour nous mettre main ensemble avec Américains noirs qui boy ici. Mais depuis m'vin là comme yon petit garçon, depuis m'vin là. Seul ça m'tende dans bouche tout haïtien, c'est que Américain noir pas bon. Américain noir c'est vagabond. Américain noir c'est sans ave. Eh bien, qu'on y a là. Comment Tariq Nasheed dit, hold your own nuts, nigga. Hold your own nuts. Hold your nuts. It's your fault. It's your fault. Because translating to what I just told the peeps is for all these decades and years we've been coming here, and me coming here as well, everything I fucking heard from the mouths of all Haitians is African Americans ain't shit. They're pieces of shit. They're lazy. They're vagabonds. They're dirty bloods. Something like that we call sans sale. Dirty bloods. They're idiots. They're morons. They're this. They're that. They'll never amount to anything. Yeah. Now the thing is, now the roost is coming. The fucking roost. It's coming home because you've been sitting here talking all this shit. And the thing is, when I was here and my sister and I were here and all our cousins, we told y'all to stop talking that shit. We told y'all that shit. Because the younger generation, we had a different mindset because we mingled and went to school with African American black people. All right. So when we came home and heard y'all talking that shit at the dinner table, or you standing by the stove talking shit about African, we were like, yo, that's not true. Whoever's telling you this, mom, it's not true. Whoever's telling you this, grandma, it's not true. Whoever's telling you this, dad, it's not true. But you come from a place where it's like a severe, one second. It's like a severe, what's the culture out in China where they believe in listening to your elders without any Confucianism. It's like an extreme form of Confucianism where we, the younger folk who are African, who are Pan-African minded, try to tell you that you on bullshit. You didn't want to hear it. You told us we're kids, shut the fuck up. And mind you, they will tell you your kids shut the fuck up, whether you're 9, 19, 29, or 39. They will tell you this. Shut the fuck up, your kids. Now, the thing is, generations that came up behind us, the Pan-African generation of Haitians who stood in the trenches with African Americans, the generation that came up after us, they started listening to the old coons. The what about black on black crime, but with a French accent coons, right? They started listening to them motherfuckers. So then now we have anti-African American sentiments coming out of diaspora black people again, from out of nowhere, or at least seemingly from out of nowhere. So when we have stuff that's happening in the frontier right now, over at, was it Texas? No other immigrant group suffered that shit. I didn't see anybody on horseback with whips greeting Mexicans when they were at the frontier or at the border. I didn't see them greeting them on horseback with whips when the Afghans got off those planes recently. They saved that disrespect for you. They need you to know when you get here, because due to the liberal-minded government we have now, that stuff that they floated out in the media was just to appease the conservative bases, right? Those Haitians are not, some of them are going back, but as a whole, staying here. They're staying here because the Democrats and the liberal camp, they need that base. They need very grateful, oh yes, a boss. They need that class here to accept anything that comes out of the Democratic camp. So they know if you come here as a refugee, fugitive, or no, not fugitive, refugee. That fugitive has to do with law, criminal law. Refugee or migrant or immigrant, that you'll be more likely, depending on how you came here, that you'll be more likely to vote Democrat. So they need that support base. So those Haitians are staying. Those Haitians are staying. Some of them might go back on those planes for show. Like all the cameras will be on. They'll show a group of people mounting planes and shit. The rest of them off camera, the majority of them, they're staying. Right? And so for those of you who are staying, they need you to know you were greeted on horseback with whips. Because they need you to know as Haitians that shit y'all pulled, Lakai, as in that's Haitian for home soil. That shit you pulled off, where you hung every French soldier, and then you beat the Spanish, the French, the Germans, the Polish. You beat them all away from that shore. You ain't pulling that shit off here like the 2021 version of it. You ain't doing it. They need you to know what your place is. That revolutionary spirit, leave that shit back on home soil. You're on American soil now. That's why they greeted you on horseback with whips. You're staying, but you need to know where your place is. The Mexicans who are at the border, they don't come here to take over or anything like that. So they don't need to worry about them. But they know that spirit is in you, that you like to overcome shit. So that's why they greet you on horseback. The rest of the people that I wanted to actually address in the diaspora are not the Haitians, but like the Caribbeans. Because you know what? We had Caribbean friends from like Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica. Y'all had that same shit that our parents were saying, but with a patois accent. The Yankee them, right? All that shit that you were talking, right? Let me find out if there's some Caribbean people mixed in with those Haitians. Let me know if when you tell them that you're not Haitian and you're not African American, you're not African, you're not Haitian, you're not African, if they'll treat you any differently. If that skin color will be any less black when those whips come down on you at that border, right? So the Jamaicans, like, and this is kind of like going at Truth Teacher, but not really. I love Truth Teacher to death or to life, as we say now. You know, that's my boy. But Truth Teacher comes in with a lot of eye bucking and a lot of tap dancing. And he's not the only one. When we had Charlottesville, there were legit Jamaicans with dreadlocks standing there talking with those guys with those black suns on their shields. What kind of getting alongness are you getting with those people? You're never going to prove anything to them. They see you as patois speaking niggas. That's what you are. Haitians, there were some Haitians. In fact, there was a Haitian who came out, if it was 20 or whatever, and he supported those guys. If you're Haitian, what getting alongness are you getting from racists? They see you as French-speaking niggas. It's just different flavors of niggas. So what the fuck is the energy you're bringing to the table here? My diaspora peeps. It's fucktarded. I hate when I see diaspora black people. This is the second thing I'm getting in their ass about. I hate when I see diaspora people sitting up on here, which I'm guilty of some of it myself, sitting up on here, arguing with people like Indigenous Podcast. There's no amount of reasoning or facts or evidence that I could bring as a black person to Indigenous Podcast to prove to him that black people are not inferior. He said it himself towards the tail end of that panel. He said it. That how could black people have come here? They're not as advanced as those other Africans. And by that, what did he mean? He meant lighter-skinned Africans, quote unquote, and white Africans. He sub-Saharan African. As if the Sahara, that's why I hate using that term, but he used it. As if the Sahara is that big fucking ice wall in Game of Thrones. None shall pass. People traverse the Sahara all the time. There are people living. I mean, shit. There are people, all kinds of nomadic tribes living along there. But they like to isolate people. And that's one of the energies that that guy brought there. There's nothing I can say. Nothing I can say can actually prove to him that I'm not inferior. What meaningful conversations will I have with this person? So when I have a lot of black people come on there and they start arguing for black Egypt, black Moors, black medieval Europe, which all have valid points because black people were in those places. Why are you arguing that with them? What you need to be doing is going out there, coming back, having amassed power. You go out there, you network with people who don't hate you. I don't necessarily mean only black people. Pocho's not black. But you network with people who don't hate you. People who use common sense, logic, reasoning, facts, right? People who don't hate you just because of who you are. You network with them. You don't spend your or waste your time trying to prove your worth to people who are dedicated and have incentive to hate you. The second thing, aside from going out there and making connections and coming back having amassed power, is you need to go out there and amass influence. This means stop bitching about not having enough black movies. Cameras have never been more affordable. You can get a Red One camera if you and a buddy get together and you each chip in like $2,000, and you can because you trick off more than that at the fucking strip club. You get some money together, each of your homeboys, $2,000 a piece, you can buy a Red One camera. A Red One camera is a camera specifically similar to the camera that George Lucas used to film all the prequel movies. And we can fault the prequel movies for having had bad plotting and shoddy acting, but we can't fault the prequels for having had bad cinematography because the cinematography was crisp. The CGI seems a bit dated, but the cinematography was crisp. And the cameras that can do that are available. They're called Red One. You and some buddies skip a night at the fucking strip club or wherever the fuck you blow all your money at, and you put your money together. You go on eBay and you buy 2 Red One cameras. One for B-roll footage. When you get into cinema, you'll know why you need to buy 2 cameras. Okay? Music. Stop looking for fucking record deals. All these things. Now I'm going all around the world here because I need to speak to my people who are spending their time arguing with racists. So, as far as influence, right? We got the visual media thing with the cameras. YouTube, all these different platforms, YouTube, Twitch, whatever. Get on a platform and talk your shit. Make something interesting that people want to watch. And build a following of righteous people. Notice I haven't said black yet. Righteous people. Because this rumor or this propaganda that's floating around out there that Brotep is anti-white, Brotep is pro-black, all these different things, is complete bullshit. Because most of the people who help me out in my graphic design business, in my art business, in my writing, you know how many people gave me breaks on editing things for me that I've written? Yes, I have screenplays floating around out there. It's really not surprising. I speak like a writer. I'm not exactly a genius, but you can't listen to Brotep and think Brotep is a stupid guy. I speak like a writer. Yeah, I'm a writer. I have screenplays floating around out there, and it's sort of like hitting the lotto or getting accepted into the NBA. So I don't have my hopes set high that my screenplays will get produced. That's not how that works, right? But I have it just to have it, right? So to get back to it, your music. I can't believe I'm still seeing motherfuckers out here looking for record deals. I can't believe it. On one hand, you're out here looking for record deals, and then you're arguing with racists online, not realizing that they're in the same camp. You're begging on one end and arguing on the other. What sense does that make? Put your own music, recording or recording software. It's never been cheaper. Look into something called East West Gold Symphonic Orchestra. Let me type it in. Most likely, hold on, East West. I'm not even sure. I'm still, because StreamYard being what it is, I'm not even sure this podcast is still on. Poach, you still there? Yeah, see, I'm not even sure I'm still recording. But just in case I am, East West Symphonic.
I can still hear you.
All right, cool. StreamYard has been, has been on its period this evening. Oh, Symphonic, East West Symphonic. Just type in East West Symphonic. Let's say gold. Gold is good too. Gold is I think I have an even higher tier now. But let me type that. East West Symphonic, gold. What you do is you go on any search engine, whether it's Google, YouTube, Bing, you type that in, and you go and you get that. All right. If it's too much money, you'd rather spend that money over, buying a dime out there, right? Or whatever it is you choose to blow your money at. At the very least, there's a recourse for this one. You can go ahead and surf the high seas for it. It's available there. But let's not be leechers here. Let's not be parasites. You can go ahead and get it over by surfing the seas. Let's just call it that, right? But as soon as you start making money, go ahead and give money and pay for the legit copy of it. And hell, look for the creators and the developers of it and make a donation. They're always taking donations. Most software that you use, the creators take donations. All right. So there's no reason at all why you're still looking for record deals. No reason at all you're still complaining about more white Egyptian movies. All right. Make your own shit. When I was out in Georgia, there were vacant lots all over the place. Instead of one enterprising, and I tried, I'll tell you this for free, I tried. Instead of one enterprising person, i.e. me, sitting and being listened to Like, hey, I do storyboards, I write screenplays, and I have a couple of $1,000 that I can put into something. Why don't we put a movie together? None of them wanted to do it. None of them wanted to do it. One of them instead used one of the houses that was kind of like abandoned, used it for trapping instead. We could have had a horror movie. We could have had a post-apocalyptic The Walking Dead type movie. No, they wanted to use it for trapping. That's what we're dealing with. So you can't go and do that and then come complain that The Walking Dead has black people who keep getting eaten alive, getting the worst deaths possible on that show. And that they only have 2 black people at a time. And if you watch The Walking Dead, you know that's exactly what I'm talking about. It's like they draw straws, like, you know what? We got a new black guy. This black guy from the previous episodes, he's got to die. It seems like that's what they do. Because that priest Gabriel, who he looks a little bit like he's Caribbean, but I looked him up. He's actually African American. But he looks like somebody like a Dominican black guy, right? So technically, if we want to talk, like, the community here speaks a lot about black people and about the black diaspora. He's not black. He's not black. Anyhow, it's about to be 3 hours. Let me cut this out. I'm happy for anyone who came on. Yes, I'm on that. Daniel Valencia. You ain't know. See, you came on here when I was having technical difficulties and you didn't hear anything, so you don't know if I'm on or not. Let me actually get off here. I thank everyone who stopped by. Like, comment, subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications. If you're on any social media platform, go ahead and share a link to this video, share a link to this channel, and come back with a friend or 2 or 10. Peace out.